Here's what it takes to have $10,000 a month in passive income. So I always get asked that if you just start over today and you wanted to actually have $10,000 a month in passive income, how would you do it? So here's how I would do it after 31 years of doing this real estate game. Here's the most efficient and most effective way to do it. Let me show you a deal that I just bought recently, okay? If you follow this method, we call this the BRRRR method. If you do this method right here, folks, I'm telling you, you keep it real simple in your life. You can have no investor. You can do this on your own. And this is very doable. I bought this fixer-upper. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home for $325,000. It was a fixer. It needed a lot of work, okay? I rehabbed the house. It cost me $120,000 to rehab it. And I put 2-bedroom, 1-bath in the basement. So when I time I got finished, this house is all remodeled, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. 2-1 up, 2-1 down. $325,000 and $120,000 to rehab. I'm all in for $445,000. You don't need all cash to do this. A lot of time I use hard money lending. For a lot of you guys that don't know, Springboard has Springboard funding now. We can provide hard money lending all across the United States for anybody that need funding for hard money lending, okay? If you'd like to know more information about it, the link is in the description, okay? When you're all in for $445,000 in this deal I did, I'll put 20% down. All you need is 20% down of your all-in number. 20% of $445,000 is $89,000. I come up with $89,000. Hard money lending will provide the other 80% to close the deal and to give money to rehab the deal. By the time I got done, I needed to get traditional bankers to come out there so they can appraise this home so I can refi it from hard money lending into permanent financing. Because hard money lending usually is good for about a year. Permanent financing is basically 30 years. Okay? It's a loan for 30 years. When you get done, you got to go call what I call a traditional lender. Go out there and give financing so you can keep this loan for 30 years. So a bank came out, who I work with in Seattle, Renton First Savings, right? They're a bank who I work with, it's a portfolio bank in Seattle. They went out and appraised it. They appraised the property, 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. They appraised it all brand new home for $650,000. And what they do for me is they will lend up to 70% of the appraised value. 70% of $650 basically is $455,000. 70% of $650 is $455,000. I'm only all in for $445,000. That's an extra $10,000 basically I could get if I choose to. I don't. What I do, you guys, is I tell the bank, hey, if you can lend me up to $455,000, great, but I only need $445,000. So can you just give me a loan for $445,000? The bank says, sure. That's way below what they can lend me. So now I have a loan for this property for $445,000. If I get a loan for $445,000, that means that I'm basically paying back 20% of my $89,000 back in my pocket, and the other 80% it get paid back to hard money lending, Springboard funding, for example. So now they hold my 20% hold. I got it back in my pocket. Now I got a loan for basically $445,000. Before I go to the monthly payment, the ARV is $650,000. I'm all in for $445,000. That means I have a $205,000 worth of equity. If you take 205 divided by the ARV, which is $650,000, that's a 30% margin deal. I always say, even in today's market, everybody's talking about you should wait until the market bottom out before you buy and you get a better deal. What people are referring to, what they don't understand is this. When you look at homes that are already nice condition, okay, nice condition home, let's say $650,000, okay, the moving condition, there's a ton of those on the market. What's gonna make that property with any other property better than the other one? It's gonna be price. So right now with the high interest rate, right, seller who want to sell their home, they have to drop their price so they can get basically a buyer to come buy their home. So if you actually are buying a house that's moving condition, there's a lot more to choose from, which is a buyer's market. You can get a better deal when basically the price come down a little more. But when you can go find an ugly house, we can add value, force value, okay, in a good area, then those properties don't come off very often, right? They rarely come up. So if you got money, is the key. If you got money and, right, you like the area and this is a good property in a good area, then buy it. And here's the reason why. If a property go down another 2%, 3%, 5%, let's say you're saving 30 more grand. 5% is 650, 30 grand or 40 grand. Let's call it 50 grand. You go down 50 grand. But folks, if you went and bought this house and you actually rehabbed it, you're creating sweat equity. You're making more money than you're saving because you're adding value. So that's why for me in this market, if I find me a good deal in a good area where I can rehab it and make 25, 30% and more, I'm going to buy it. Because when I buy it, I'm already making money on it, and then I'm going to hold it for long-term rental for the next 10 years. I only pick area in Seattle where it doubled every 7 to 10 years. So even in 10 years, this property will double. It go from $650 to $1.3 million. You think I care about a $50,000 discount on the market? Most people go, oh, wait till the bottom. Most average people, you don't even know where the bottom is at. So by the time you find out it's already, basically everybody's buying it, it already hit rock bottom, it came back up. Now you're buying when everybody's buying again. Buying a fixer-upper where you can add value, it's totally different than buying a home that's already moving condition on the MLS, okay? That's what I'm talking about, it's different. Back to the payment. Now my new loan amount is $445. My bank, I can get a 5-year fix, okay? Amortized over 30 years. This is not a 30-year loan, okay? This is fixed for 5 years, but it's amortized over 30 years, like a monthly payment of a 30-year loan, right? 30-year loan, it don't adjust. It stays still for 30 years. A 5-year fix is it's fixed for 5 years, and then it adjusts to whatever the market is, right, from that point forward. The reason why I do 5 year, folks, or even a 7 year, is because the monthly payment is cheaper than a 30-year fix right off the bat. Right now, with interest rates high, I do a 5 year or a 7 year. This one's a 5 year. I get it for cheaper, right? With my bank, I got 6.75%. Okay. I do that because I wanted to start off lower. And I know in the next probably 18 months, interest rate's going to go back down. And when it go back down, then I'm going to refi it and I'm going to get the cheaper interest rate. The other thing, why, if you find a good deal in a good area, if you find a good deal in a good area and you got a good deal in like this, well, I'm all in at $445 for a property worth $650 in this area. That's $200,000 equity. I'm all in. I bought it at a good price. You won't see this price right now because you see these kind of prices because it's at the lower of the market. So I got a good deal right here. Yes, I'm paying higher interest rate, right? A little higher than normal. In the next 18 months, when rates go back down, even at 4.5%, for example, or 5%, it's still a good interest rate compared to, you know, everybody's spoiled. I've been in business for 31 years. I started with interest rates at 10 and 12%. So literally at 4%, and people complaining now at 6%, you guys are spoiled. People that was at 10 and 12, they was happy. They got 8% back then. We have been spoiled because we've seen 3.5 and 4. I'm gonna tell you, when interest rate go back down to 4.5, and 5, I'm gonna refinance it. I'm gonna have the best of both worlds. I got basically a good deal in a home at a low price I will never find again, and then I got lower interest rate again. For now, I got a 5-year fix, amortized over 30 years at 6.75 interest rate. Principal interest about $28.86. Property tax, insurance, all that kind of all in, it'd be around $3,400. This house, we rent this house for $3,650. That means there's a $250 a month of positive cash flow. That's a $3,000 a year. So watch this. At the end of the day, this deal, $205,000 in equity, $3,000 a year in cash flow, positive cash flow. And since the bank was gonna basically finance $445, which is my all-in number, I got my 20% back in my pocket. Now I take that $89,000, folks. I got no money vested in this deal. I'm gonna take that money and I'm going to repeat this BRRRR model again. If I do that 3 times, $3,650 times 3 is almost $11,000. I do this one deal right here, I get back my $89,000, and I do it 3 times. I do one of these deals a year. In 3 years, I can have three of these property, right? Which is about almost $11,000 a year in rent. Once I get those 3 property, folks, okay, I will stop accumulating. Even if I have a fine deal like this, instead of actually just keeping it, I can actually just fix up and just sell it. Or I can buy a few more deals like this, ride it out, right? Let's say 6 of these deals. And then when the market go up real high, I can sell 3 of them off and then pay off the other 3. That way I have 3 paid off with no debt, and I can bring in literally almost $11,000 a month in cash flow forever, which is basically, $120,000 a year in rent. So again, this deal, I want to highlight this deal for you guys again. At the end of the day, I get $3,000 a year in cash flow, $205,000 in equity in this deal. I got my 20% back because the bank is financing $445, which I'm all in at $445. when the bank can finance my all-in number, I get my 20% back, hard money get their 80% back. So I have no money vested in this deal. None. This is what I call a full bird. $200,000 in equity, $3,000 a year in cash flow with no money vested. That's an infinite return on your investment. Again, I do 3 of those property, okay? 1 every year. Or you can do 6 of them, wait till the market go up, sell 3, pay out the other 3. You will have $11,000 roughly in cash flow a month. Times 12, which is probably somewhere in the $120,000 a year for life, folks. If I was starting over today, this is how I would generate $10,000 a month in positive cash flow. If you want to learn more about how I find these type of deal, how I'm doing these type of deal in today's market, when everybody say don't buy, I'm doing a free webinar this Thursday, okay? First time doing it, the only time I'm going to do it, okay? Make sure you guys save your seats.